We will now call the Common Council meeting of July 21st, 2026 to order. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Haas. Alderman Lorik is excused. Alderman Ritz.
Here.
Alderwoman Marshall is excused. Alderman Gale.
Here.
Guzekowski.
Here. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Alicia, would you start us off? Item 3 is approval of minutes of way back to June 16th, 2026. I'll give everybody a moment to take a look. If you're satisfied, there's no discussion, errors, corrections, omissions. Motion, please.
Fritz will move to approve the minutes of 6/16/26.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Haas. Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye. And item 4 is a consideration of a resolution of appreciation to James D. Dooley. He's a retiring emergency dispatcher. Catherine, please read that into record.
Certainly. Resolution of appreciation to James D. Dooley. Whereas James D. Dooley began his employment with the City of Oak Creek on January 3rd, 2001 as a full-time police officer, eventually moving to a full-time emergency dispatcher. And whereas during his 25 years and 6 months of service, James Dooley has been an integral part of the police department, serving as both a patrol officer and an emergency dispatcher. And whereas James D. Dooley has been a valuable employee during his years of dedicated service with the Oak Creek Police Department, always striving to enhance the quality of life for the citizens of Oak Creek, and has been a great teammate for those he has worked with, and his dedication to the department. And whereas James D. Dooley received 15 combined departmental acknowledgments and awards, most notably is his life-saving award for providing life-saving measures by way of CPR, the Meritorious Arrest Award for his work sealing a conviction of an offender to prison for the sexual assault of an underage person, a Meritorious Arrest Award for his work on an ATM skinning case, and a unit citation for his work as an evidence technician on a domestic terrorism case of damage to an electrical transmission line tower. All of his actions have impacted both the Oak Creek Police Department and the community as a whole. Whereas James D. Dooley served with honor, passion, and dedication on several subunits of the Oak Creek Police Department, notably serving as an evidence technician, property room technician, crisis negotiator, and as a CPR AED instructor. James D. Dooley also served as a school resource officer, establishing a connection with the youth of Oak Creek and strengthening our connection to the community. Through James D. Dooley's tenacity and dedication, the Oak Creek Police Department is more prepared, capable, and ready to serve the citizens of Oak Creek. And whereas James D. Dooley is retiring from the Oak Creek Police Department after completing 25 years and 6 months of full-time service to the City of Oak Creek. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Common Council of the City of Oak Creek for and on behalf of the citizens of the City of Oak Creek that sincere gratitude and appreciation be extended to James D. Dooley for his years of professional, dedicated, and faithful service to the City of Oak Creek and the Police Department, and that the best wishes for good health and happiness be extended to James D. Dooley and his family for future years. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and the city clerk is hereby directed to transmit a suitable copy thereof to James D. Dooley, passed and adopted this 21st day of July, 2026.
Thank you, Catherine. I'll now invite Chief Stecker up.
Good evening, Council. David Stecker, Chief of Police. I just want to take a few moments to say a little bit more about Jim. I talk about many of our great employees that have retired over the last several years, and I think Jim's no exception to that. First off, Jim called me today and wanted to apologize that he couldn't be here tonight because he is working as security for the Brewers, which he's done for many, many years, and he's doing now in retirement. So he's making sure all the Brewers fans are safe, as well as the players, as he wanted to remind me the players are also part of their safety plan. Getting a little odd now as I start getting a little older or more experienced. How's that? You know, it's one thing to work many, many years with people and then wish them well into retirement. It's another where I had been with the city for about 2 years at that point when Jim got hired, and we both started as patrol officers around the same time. Jim gave about 19 and a half years on the patrol side of things and then moved over to be an emergency dispatcher the last 6 years. Still coming to work, still caring for all the citizens as he has all along. So Jim's always been one to help bring levity to everything, help bring a smile to the face of everyone that's working. As he said last week, Thursday, as we had a ceremony for him, wasn't necessarily that every day was great, but his job was to try and lighten the mood for everyone else that was working. And I think Jim carried that his entire life, but did so for the last 25 and a half years for us here in the city of Oak Creek, as well as the citizens he's had contact with. So, Jim's going to be someone that is greatly missed. He's done a great job here for all of us in both roles that he's had for the city. And I just want to wish Jim the best of luck in retirement. I know that he's going to enjoy it to the fullest. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Council, any words for Jim? Just very, very briefly, I had the honor of going to Jim's retirement last week, I believe it was. And as Chief said, Jim's a pretty humble guy. He did bring levity to things. 25 and a half years of experience. And I always say our protective services are really the ambassadors to the city. They're always one of the first contacts people have with them, unfortunately, due to circumstances sometimes. But we could not have had a better ambassador than Jim for the past 25 years. So on behalf of the citizens of Oak Creek, the entire Common Council, and myself, we're going to wish Jim a very happy and long retirement. Excellent. We will need a motion on that, please.
Thank you, Mayor Gale. Will move to approve Resolution 12702-072126, a resolution of appreciation to James D. Dooley, retiring emergency dispatcher.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Aye. Fritz.
Aye.
And our next recognition is mayoral proclamation, and this is for appreciation to Savalia Financial Advisors and their partnership and community involvement with the city of Oak Creek. Catherine?
Appreciation to Savalia Financial Advisors on their partnership and community involvement with the city of Oak Creek. Whereas Savalia Financial Advisors was established in 1999 by Don Savalia, is a small two-person firm dedicated to providing individuals of all financial means with expert financial and investment guidance. Whereas through a unique approach to client relationships and financial planning, Savalia Financial Advisors has helped hundreds of clients plan for and achieve their financial goals. And whereas Savalia Financial Advisors is committed to giving back to the community and has consistently demonstrated a strong dedication to community involvement and meaningful partnerships through support of local nonprofits, businesses, and events that positively impact the city. And whereas Savalia Financial Advisors has generally supported numerous local organizations, including Feeding America and Pets Helping People, as well as of a variety of events throughout the city, including serving as a major music sponsor at the Oak Creek Farmers Market, coordinating nonprofit water sales, sponsoring July 4th care packages, and participating in the August Fair in the Square event. And whereas Savalia Financial Advisors has reaffirmed its commitment to the Oak Creek community in 2026 by once again serving as a music sponsor for the farmers market and providing water for nonprofit sales. And whereas Savalia Financial Advisors further reaffirmed its commitment to Oak Creek through a $3,500 donation for 2026, contributing $19,250 since 2020. And whereas Savalia Financial Advisors has consistently demonstrated a strong commitment to civic involvement and a continued dedication to supporting and enriching the Oak Creek community. Now therefore be it resolved that on this day, Tuesday, July 21st, 2026, that I, Daniel J. Bukevich, Mayor of the City of Oak Creek, do hereby recognize and extend gratitude to Savalia Financial Advisors and its team for their commitment, service, and generosity to the City of Oak Creek, Wisconsin, and all its residents. Be it further resolved that the city clerk be and is hereby directed to transmit a suitable copy thereof to Savalia Financial Advisors dated this 21st day of July, 2026.
Thank you, Catherine. Anybody from Savalia like to come up and say a word or two?
I just want to thank everyone for this recognition of our involvement in the community. I am not Don Savalia, as you can see, but Don Savalia founded the business in 1999. And one of the core principles of his business was taking care of his clients and being a part of his community. He was a resident here for very, very many years. And the majority of our clientele are within the Oak Creek community. So it's very important to us to support them as in many different ways as we possibly can, not only through our financial planning efforts, but being a good citizen and partner in the community. So we thank you.
Thank you. Council, anything for Savalia? Okay. As this is a mayoral proclamation, I do like to point out that the city alone cannot do everything by itself. We rely on our civic partners and our business partners to get things done, and Savalia is a great example. They've been with us from day one, and they've chosen to have a brick and mortar office right here in the city of Oak Creek for many, many years. And whenever the need was there and the opportunity to step up and serve the community, Savalia has always answered the bell. So it's only right that we give them this day and properly recognize their contributions to the city. So again, on behalf of the entire council, the city residents, and myself, thank you for all you do and contribute to make our community a great place to live, work, and play. Excellent. So we have a few gifts for you here. You're going to get this really cool plaque with that proclamation that was just read. You're going to get this limited edition mayoral coin as well. So this and $1.50 won't even get you a cup of coffee, let me tell you, these days. So if we could, council, can we do a picture with him, please? Right. Kelly's here, ready with the camera. How about you guys come up this way? And again, just thank you very much for your commitment to the city of Oak Creek. It's greatly appreciated. We will need no action on that as it is a mayoral. We will move on to the public hearings. And item 6 is consideration of a request to amend the city of Oak Creek's 2020 comprehensive land use category from industrial to mixed use for a property at 900 West Drexel. Catherine, would you like to read that in?
Certainly. Public hearing number 1 is to consider a request to amend the City of Oak Creek 2020 Comprehensive Plan land use category from industrial to mixed use for the property located at 900 West Drexel Avenue. Applicant is Sawak Enterprises LLC and Eric Main Rinka Inc. Property owner Sawak Enterprises LLC. My apologies if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Legal description there follows. Date of notice is June 10th, 2026.
Okay, Christy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council, Christy Lane, Community Development Director. The parcel that we are discussing this evening for consideration is located on the Drexel Avenue corridor, just west of City Hall here on the north side of Drexel. The property is currently zoned manufacturing. It is operated as Neo Break, a newer business to the city, to this particular location in the city of Oak Creek. The comprehensive land use category is identified as industrial, and what they're asking the Common Council to consider this evening is to amend our 2020 land use category from industrial to mixed use. So the comprehensive plan identifies industrial and defines industrial as, a mix of warehousing. It's pretty self-explanatory. Distribution, manufacturing types of uses. It does say that typically they're along the southern portions of the I-94 corridor and also in our industrial development and parks throughout the city of Oak Creek. And then the comp plan defines mixed use as distinct uses stacked vertically within the same structure that you see here in Drexel Town Square. You have your commercial on the first floor and residential above, or possibly horizontal mixed use within possibly a planned unit development. So you have a combination of commercial and residential uses within a parcel. And so mixed use zoning, or excuse me, not zoning, the comprehensive land use map, you can see it's kind of that burgundy color identified. And you can see parcels, most of Drexel Town Square area is identified as mixed use. And then if you look a little bit further west, the Highgate development is also identified as mixed use, and so is Creekside Crossing. So it's a pretty prominent future land use identity along Drexel Avenue. And that is the request of this particular application before you. What the applicant has done is they hired Rinka to help provide a vision for the future for this particular site. And you can see I identified that on the north and south side of Drexel Avenue, we have retail commercial corridors. And then just west of the site, you have Quick Trip, also retail corridor, continuing west at Highgate, retail corridor. And then, of course, on the other side of the freeway, you have commercial and retail uses as well. And so they saw the potential, they're very forward thinking with this application, that there might be a higher and better use for this particular site than the current manufacturing type of use that's identified today. And they don't necessarily have a user in mind, but again, this application is a forward thinking process, and it also would allow the potential redevelopment for them to possibly solicit the site to a developer who does this type of development. And with the Common Council, with their consideration this evening, if it would be approved, the owner, can reach out to developers and say, hey, the city agrees that the vision for this particular site is maybe some sort of mixed use, not the manufacturing use that you see right along Drexel Avenue. And then they also spent a significant amount of time and resources to come up with a conceptual site plan, possible development where you have the blue buildings identified along Drexel Avenue to carry that commercial corridor, parking in the middle, and then the yellow buildings identified as residential. You have kind of some nice green space to the east there that abuts the railroad crossing, and then that would be a nice carryover with the current Quick Trip use right next to them to the west along Drexel Avenue. So again, extremely conceptual mixed use, but this is something for the Common Council to consider with their application to change the comp plan to mixed use from the current industrial category that sits today. Also, I just wanted to mention that we've had internally a lot of discussions about strategic action plan and identifying strategic parcels throughout the city that maybe aren't identified with the full potential opportunities with their current future land use identification. And this was one of the parcels that we identified in that exercise that we've discussed internally. So with that being said, the Plan Commission did review this. They recommended approval at their May 12th meeting. This public hearing is held so much later because the comp plan requires a 30-day public comment period for any changes for the land use category. And that concludes my portion of the public hearing explanation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Christie.
Thank you.
As this is a public hearing, I will make 3 calls. Anybody wishing to speak, please approach the podium. We'll need your name and address for the minutes. This is the first call. Second call. Third and final call, anybody wishing to speak. Okay, we will now close the public hearing and we will go on to item 7, which is an ordinance amending the City of Oak Creek's 2020 Comprehensive Plan land use category from industrial to mixed use for the property located in 900 West Drexel Avenue. Council, questions, comments?
Christie, what cannot be put into a mixed use?
I would say that rather than answer that question so directly. I would say that a limitation of that mixed-use category is that you do have to have residential and commercial. You can't have one or the other. I would say this is kind of a stepping stone. If they end up parceling off, and again, so hypothetical, but parceling off, the front would be commercial, the back would be residential as shown. We would have to all change the comp plan again someday to fit that, but we didn't want to be that aggressive because you have to forecast where those lot lines would be. And so this is the best stepping stone to get to a more realistic future land use and rezoning that could take place in the future. So you can't have one or the other. It's got to be both, the way our comp plan defines it.
Yeah, wonderful.
You can't have, excuse me, if I may add to that, manufacturing uses. So again, but this is not a rezone. So we're not making them non-conforming. It's just a land use change, future land use change.
Anyone else? Questions, comments, Ken?
I don't know if it came up during planning or not, Danny. Christiane, I know they conceptually show residential there. I know Dan can attest to the problems at that intersection already. I imagine we're going to have some thought about what residential would potentially mean there. On 10th and Drexel.
Oh, yeah, agreed. Yeah, it's a kind of a tough intersection, and if it were to be pretty dense in the future, you're right, a lot of discussion will need to take place about maybe a traffic study and intersection improvements, perhaps, turn restrictions,
Okay.
that sort of thing.
Just complete lateral to a different concept. With the comp plan change to mixed use, if an industrial user came along and they just reverted to that, do we have a say at that point?
If it changed from one industrial user to a different, is that what
Yeah.
you're asking? It's still zone manufacturing, so that can always take place, yes.
You know, the comp plan is.
Yep, comp plan is just a guideline. If it were to be rezoned, it has to match the comp plan. But the true law, if you will, is the actual zoning district of manufacturing.
Anything? Isha, you're okay? Okay. No, we have kicked this around, and I think Christy, you know, the map she had showing the colors, it really sticks out like a sore thumb that it's manufacturing smack dab in the middle of that mixed use. And as you said, Ken, this kind of gives us the best of both worlds. So if another industrial user comes in, manufacturing-wise, they still have that option. But if somebody wants to redo the building, redevelop with a different use, we're all set and makes sense. So, and the owners were very progressive about it as well. They actually brought it to our attention as well. So, this is the challenges city has with things quite like this. And again, people always say, "Oh, Oak Creek's really fortunate." It's preparation meeting opportunity, and Oak Creek and our staff is really diligent about looking ahead and not just at the moment. So, just another exercise in doing that, I think.
I think the owners probably want to make sure that there's a disagreement if they were ever going to tear down.
I would imagine as well, but that's a question for them to answer. So right now, it's just for the future. There's no further questions or discussions. Motion on 7.
House moves to adopt ordinance number 3162, amending the City of Oak Creek 2020 Comprehensive Plan land use category from industrial to mixed use for the property located at 900 West Drexel.
Ritzel, second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Hess.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
And item 8 is our second public hearing, and it is consideration of a request to review a conditional use permit along with conditions and restrictions for a veterinary emergency group, a proposed animal hospital, and this would be located at 7935 South Main. Catherine?
Public hearing number 2 is to review a conditional use permit along with conditions and restrictions for veterinary emergency group, VEG, a proposed animal hospital to be located at 7935 South Main Street. Applicant is Sean Phelan, GTS B1 LLC, and Ryan Duadon, Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc. Property owners, ZTS B1 LLC. Legal description there follows. Date of notice is June 24th, 2026.
Thank you. Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council, Christy Lane, Community Development Director. The application before you this evening, second public hearing, is for a property that is just up the street here on South Main Street, and would be the last building to fill a vacant site here along Drexel Avenue in Drexel Town Square. So as everyone's aware, this property and the vicinity are zoned Drexel Town Square Mixed-Use Planned Development District, a mouthful there. Comprehensive plan identifies it as mixed use. And what's being proposed before you this evening is a 24-hour animal hospital. In that zoning district, animal hospitals do require a conditional use permit. This is for emergency only care. It's not routine care. It's not where you're going to go for your annual appointment with your pet for vaccinations, spay, neuter procedures, that sort of thing. Again, emergency only animal care facility. So as I mentioned, this building is not yet constructed, but it has gone before the Plan Commission for approval of the design that you see before you. The front top right picture is the viewpoint from Drexel Avenue looking west, and then the viewpoint at the bottom left is when you are on the south side of the building looking northwest. They are occupying the middle tenant space. This is a 3-tenant building with 2 tenants on the outside end caps. So again, the internal tenant space is what they would be occupying, approximately 4,800 square feet. They are going to use sound bat insulation in the demising walls between the tenant spaces. This is a shared parking situation, which is encouraged in the Drexel Town Square vicinity. There are 116 parking spaces required due to the mix of uses between this building and the existing multi-tenant commercial building to the west. And there are 141 provided. 49 of those spaces are specifically for this particular property that is to be constructed. And then they are also providing a pet relief area in the very southeast corner of the site. So regarding operations and floor plan, again, this is 24-hour, 365-day operational vet clinic. They'll have approximately 8 to 10 staff members per shift. They'll have a treatment area, storage space, and why the 25 animals is in red print before you is because originally their project description noted that they anticipating having about 15 animals at a time maximum, but they have reevaluated their capacity limit since the Plan Commission reviewed this, and they did request to bump that up to 25. Again, just a max. It's probably not going to be typical, but the maximum would be 25 animals on site. Again, these are household pets, mostly cats and dogs, no livestock, and it's not a doggy daycare. So the conditions and restrictions that are before you reflect that change from 15 to the capacity to 25. Just wanted to note that. We have our standard conditions and restrictions with all conditional use permits, but this particular application has a few bullet points that I want to mention that are above and beyond what we typically see. Again, we actually have in the conditions and restrictions that they'll use that sound bat insulation must be installed to, soundproof what's going inside so that the cap end tenants cannot hear, for instance, dogs barking. There will be no outdoor dog runs or animal play areas on the site. Permitted animals is a maximum of 25. And then basically stating that the animal waste site must be collected, properly disposed of promptly, and kept in a good, clean manner. So with that, the Plan Commission recommended approval at their June 9th meeting. That concludes my portion of the public hearing summary, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Christy. As this is a public hearing, I will make 3 calls. This will be the first. Second call, anybody wishing to speak on the veterinarian clinic? Third and final call. Okay, we will now close the public hearing and go on to 9, which is consideration of a resolution approving that conditional use permit for an animal hospital at the property located at 7935 South Main Street. Council, questions, comments? Easy crowd, okay. But we did cover this pretty well at the Plan Commission, and, we discussed the parking, the relief area there, which is in the southeast corner, hours, everything like that, and it was all satisfactory to the Plan Commission. Okay, there's no further discussion?
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead,
sorry,
Ken.
did you get a heads up on any start time frame on?
No, we did not, but, speaking to the applicant, if the applicant would like to come up, you can, or I can just kind of convey the conversation we had, if you don't mind. Come on up, Sean. You came all the way here, you may as well come on up.
Sean Phelan, Phelan Development, owner of DTSB1. So where we're at right now is we've got our permits, and there's review by, I shouldn't say permits, we got our plan approvals. We're in for permitting, and we anticipate being able to break ground probably sometime right before September, or right about that time. It's an interesting thing, not to geek out on you, but as it relates to delivery of certain materials, we actually are working with our contractors right now because there's some delays with regards to steel with all the construction that is going on in southeastern Wisconsin right now. But we're looking forward and excited to finish off Drexel Town Square. This is the last parcel that we have, and it'll be a wonderful way to complete Main Street, and we're very, very proud of the partnership and excited about the partnership that we've had with the city for all these years. I think it's coming on like a decade or more. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, motion on 9.
Fritz will move to adopt resolution number 12704-072126, approving a conditional use permit for an animal hospital at the property located at 7935 South Main Street.
5 seconds.
Roll call?
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Fritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Item 10 was informational, and our Celebrations Commission unfortunately couldn't make it tonight. They were going to give us a brief recap of our 4th of July celebration. I will say our parade was remarkable. It was great. It's great to see the community come out the way they do. Very well run. I just want to thank the Celebrations Commission for all their hard work they do, not just on that particular day or that weekend, or those few days over the holiday to make it happen, but what they do all year to really benefit the community. It means a lot. One other group I just would like to point out, and they do this consistently year after year, is the community that comes out. And they provide anybody in that parade, whether it's our protective services, participants in the parade, juice, water, you name it, they're there. That just, again, just shows that community spirit of Oak Creek being one. So we will have them in possibly at a later date. So we'll move on to 11. And item 11 is consideration of a motion to amend Personnel Policy 5.12.2, acting pay, to allow higher pay increase for vacant appointed officer or official positions, and to establish a review by the Personnel and Finance Committee when an acting appointment lasts beyond 6 months. Here we are. Tori.
Thank you. Tony Vanderboom, Human Resources Director. Our existing acting pay policy grants for a 10% increase in pay for employees who are assigned an acting role. But we have found that when an employee is appointed to a director acting role, 10% doesn't necessarily get them to the minimum salary for that position. So this recommended amendment would allow the city administrator to establish acting pay up to the established midpoint of a vacancy in certain scenarios. Specifically for appointed, or I'm trying to remember the exact language from the policy. Appointed officers or non-officer appointed officials. So they are called out in the memo before you. In addition, when this item was discussed by the Personnel and Finance Committee, the committee also added some language that would provide for a review of acting appointments that had a duration of longer than 6 months.
Questions, Tony? So upon appointment, the pay would kick in.
Upon the effective date of the appointment, the existing policy requires an appointment, someone be acting for at least 80 hours. So you couldn't assign it for somebody who's acting for a very short period.
Okay. We currently have anybody in that situation, would retro pay be amendable?
We do not.
Okay.
We don't have any, we do have a current vacant position, but retroactive pay would not be in place here.
Okay, thank you.
And the thinking, Dan, on the 6-month review is that if we had actually had a situation that extended that far, we'd want to just take a peek and make sure everyone's on the same page.
And
Copacetic with that.
yeah, the only one I can, in recent history, the health department.
Yeah, there was something when Judy made that transition from Judy.
Yeah, well, we borrowed Jackie from South Milwaukee, but then for a while, Jackie left. Can't remember. Anyway,
It's rare. It's not common.
okay. Good policy. Good policy. Again, our treasured assets are our employees. We really have to make sure we're doing what we can to retain. So, good with it. Anyone
And it
else?
gives us the flexibility to make it lucrative to actually
Yeah.
take the interim gig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The added responsibility. That's a real thing, so. Okay, if there's no further discussion, motion.
Gail move to amend the personal policy 5.12.2, acting pay to allow higher pay increase for vacant appointed officer or official positions and to establish a review by the Personnel and Finance Committee when an acting appointment lasts beyond 6 months.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Item 12 concerns fire, and it's informational on the Oak Creek Fire Department's 2026-2031 strategic plan, and Chief Kresick is with us tonight to explain it all.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Mike Kresick, Fire Chief. My goal this evening is not to get into details of how this strategic planning process went. This body is well-versed in strategic plans, but rather to talk very broadly about our strategic plan with the hope, understanding you have very busy schedules, that you take a look at our plan if you haven't already, and you ask questions about that plan. We're very proud of the strategic plan that's been developed, so certainly I hope you are too, and you take the opportunity to review it. Our 21 through 26 strategic plan, we had many accomplishments related to that plan. We stood up an MIH community paramedicine program, numerous station projects that modernized a station as well as got us on the road to path to replace a fire station. Thanks to the council's several vehicle upgrades, numerous equipment upgrades, including a grant for SCBA and turnout gear, improvements to our internal and external comms, communications, and health and safety programming benefiting our members in terms of their wellness and fitness and peer support programming. Building on the success of that plan, we went down the pathway to develop our 26 through 31 strategic plan using the similar template that we used previously, the community-driven strategic planning process. We sent out surveys to internal and external stakeholders, performed a SWOT analysis of the feedback received from those stakeholders, did a comprehensive review of our mission and values, and of course, the development of goals and objectives. The goals and objectives that were developed as part of this strategic plan are aimed to help us, to help our members continue to provide outstanding service within a community. Plain and simple, that's it. The goal is to help support our membership provide services. I do want to thank the 20 members of the strategic planning team. We had 20 department members participate on a committee to develop this strategic plan. All ranks, all levels of experience within the organization. And a special note of thanks to retired Assistant Chief Jeff Malice. Jeff was tasked, but he would say it was not a task. He truly enjoyed the opportunity to lead and facilitate the planning process, did an excellent job, got us very far along, and we're very proud of his efforts. And today we would like to present to you a synopsis of those efforts with our strategic plan. Talking very broadly about the goals, there are 7 main areas that we focused on with the goal development. First area involves staffing, including the process to hire personnel and to build efficiencies into the way we onboard individuals. Our second goal was to strengthen and continue to support our mobile integrated healthcare program and community paramedicine program. The third goal involved our special operations programming, taking a look at those services outside of fire and EMS that we provide in the community, how we provide those services, our deployment, our training, and equipment needs associated with those. Goal 4 involved competency-based training. It continues what started with in the previous strategic plan, a look at our training program to make sure we're just not throwing information at our members, but rather we're providing them with skills that continue to develop through the course of their career. Goal 5 is a continuation of the internal communication and external engagement in the community. One thing we did note as part of the survey was there was a request for more transparency from the fire department, including a request for us to publish an annual report, which we do, but spurred us on to look at how we are getting that information out in the community and make sure they are aware we have that annual report. Goal 6 involves the modernization of technology and equipment. And goal 7 is to strengthen our leadership and accountability within the organization. Be happy to answer any questions on our process, the goals and objectives, or any component of our strategic plan.
Questions for Chief? I know in small leadership, we've had the luxury of hearing a portion of it. This is a big work in progress. This gets them to accreditation. But really, more importantly, on the whole, it just makes them better. And really, that's the everyday goal of the Oak Creek Fire Department.
Yeah, Chief, just want to say, really appreciate the fact that you guys take this very seriously.
Appreciate that.
True commitment to the community, and we really appreciate that.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
So next steps on following through on the whole thing, adoption, when's it get all rolled out to the public and everything?
So here we go. The next steps involved in this strategic plan are really myself and some members of our leadership team going to each individual shift and talking about it. We've had members from throughout our department, but the opportunity now is for the leadership team to go out to each station, each crew, talk about the plan, talk about the goals and objectives. We did that last time. We did that 5 years ago with the previous plan. We had good results with that, at least in terms of everyone being on the same page and understanding the elements of the plan. Our goal, now that city leadership has had the opportunity to see it, is to roll that out within our department. Now, there's numerous committees that we would like to stand up. There's a rather aggressive timeline for some of those committees based on the timing of some processes we already have. We just concluded a hiring process, so this is the opportunity to talk about efficiencies in our next hiring process. So several committees we're looking at, taking the opportunity to stand up early and get some good foothold on those because they're very timely with some of the events going on within the organization. Thank you to the council for your continued support of the fire department strategic plan, as well as City Administrator Vickers. We've had numerous conversations about this. Appreciate your support and guidance with this, so I want to make sure I note that.
Wonderful. Okay.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, item 13, community development. Consideration of a resolution approving and authorizing an execution of an agreement with Milwaukee County relative to continue the participation in the Community Development Block Grant Program for the years 2027, 2029 with an automatic renewal option for one cycle until 2032. Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Common Council. Christy Lane, Community Development Director. So this is a reoccurring cyclical cooperation agreement that the city has historically entered into with Milwaukee County. If the city were to not participate and enter into the cooperation agreement with Milwaukee County, the residents of Oak Creek would not be able to be eligible for funds that Milwaukee County uses with CDBG. For example, funds including job creation efforts, social services, and home repair assistance. So what the county does is they request all municipalities within Milwaukee County, except for Wauwatosa and the city of West Allis, because they are direct recipients of CDBG funds, to enter into this cooperation agreement. And it's a 3-year agreement. However, for the first time, they did add this renewal option for one cycle. So then the Common Council would not see this before you again until 2031 to enter into a 2032, 33, 34 agreement. So that's a new caveat to this particular cooperation agreement that has not been in there before. But it's a 3-year cooperation agreement, obviously with the automatic renewal option this time. And so the current agreement that the city has entered into ends at the end of 2026. So this new one starts in 2027. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Questions for Christie?
What kind of funding was provided in the past?
I don't think that the city of Oak Creek has necessarily participated in a program, but what could be eligible that we're not aware of is the county, an Oak Creek resident goes to Milwaukee County directly. Yep.
I don't know,
We can create programs.
historically, from my recollection, I think Salvation Army at one point did, there's
They
some
set up-
senior
they-
after hours, something they qualified, but I don't think anything
I think
other
it was a
else
senior meal
qualifies at Oak Creek.
program. The
Yeah.
health department partnered with
Okay.
them with block grants and helped establish that program, which, by the way, is now 4 years old and is great success. And
The county has some new staff that I've met over the last just few months. They're really ramping up their economic development program, and I've met with their new liaison who they'd like to really push out ED funds in the county. And so I foresee some partnership in the future with new businesses that perhaps want to start in Oak Creek and need some hand-holding. That's what that position is with Milwaukee County. A lot of hand-holding and providing resources to those new businesses. So that would be advantageous to the city of Oak Creek by signing this cooperation agreement.
I think they also broadened it for housing
Yes,
development.
right.
Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, motion.
So move to approve resolution 12705-072126, approving and authorizing execution of an agreement with Milwaukee County relative to continued participation in the Community Development Block Grant Program for the years 2027 through 2029 with an automatic renewal option for one cycle until 2032.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Item 14 is engineering, and its consideration of a resolution accepting the workmanship of Payne and Dolan, Inc., and authorizing the final contract payment under project number 22003, and that is a 2024 CIP road improvement project.
Thank you, Mayor and Common Council. Matt Sullivan, Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. Before you is that resolution to accept the workmanship from Payne and Dolan for the 2024 roadway annual projects. As you see within the report in the background, the final payment actually gets us about 14% under our original contract. A lot of that was just due to minimizing some of the work that was done out there. No need. A lot of times we'll do uncomputed quantities or undistributed quantities for base patching because obviously you can't see what's under the road. fortunately enough, we were able to minimize that amount of work and then strategically do some different things within our projects. And that's a foreseen from our staff that's out in the field to save us money. It took us a little bit longer here. There's some turnover in Payne and Dolan, so kind of getting to that final agreement, so to speak, on quantities took us a little bit longer than typical, but we were able to get those signatures and everyone agreed on the quantities and we're ready to close out the project. Be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Matt? Okay, seeing none, motion?
Cost moves to adopt resolution number 12703-072-126, accepting the workmanship of Payne and Dolan Inc. and authorizing final contract payment under project number 22003.
Pitzel, second.
Roll call?
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Ritz.
Aye.
Item 15 is consideration of an ordinance repealing and recreating section 3.50 sub B sub 7 and 3.50 sub J sub 2 of the municipal code relating to the stormwater customer classification of the stormwater usage charge.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you is that consideration of the ordinance repeal and recreation of those sections. This came up during several, or last year or so, as our environmental specialist has been going through our stormwater charges and looking more into some of the rules and regulations within our codes. What we've been finding is that the exempt parcel category, We Energies would be a good example where there's a public trail that runs through a lot of their property. So with that being all of their impervious area, whether, it could be, tens of thousands of square feet, are no longer counted because there is a public trail. So the whole parcel would be exempt. This doesn't quantify in the future if they ever built any further, it would still be exempt. It wouldn't be part of that charge. So what we're trying to do here with some of this repealing and recreation would be those portions thereof would be exempt impervious area. So those trails would then still be taken out of that calculation, but the remainder of the area that is considered impervious would be part of that calculation, and then they would get a stormwater charge. It just wouldn't include the exempt portions thereof. We think this is fair, and it does clarify a lot of things for us. And this also gets back into some of our reimbursement. If there is an error on the city part, it clarifies out how we can reimburse versus what happens right now is they have to put in an appeal, go through that appeal process, but they wouldn't get reimbursed until the following year. So that 1 year where that appeal came through, they wouldn't get the reimbursement, where now we'd be able to reimburse them those charges if there was an error made immediately within that year. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Matt?
Thanks, Dan. Matt, any feel from the consultant over how many properties would potentially be impacted?
I would have to speak with Josie, particular. From what I remember, the reason this came up was probably about 10 or 15 at that time when we were going through it. That has come up. We'd have to go through a little deeper to see on that
So
exact number.
these
for you.
properties that historically have not had a stormwater charge applied to their tax bill would see one in the future?
Yes.
What kind of
But we can send out the mailings and stuff and let them know. Or a lot of times when they do get a bill, that we do get a call. If it's something historically they haven't received, but
these are typically would be businesses?
yeah, it would be more along, like We Energies is one of the bigger and larger property owners that would be affected. Obviously because they have a significant amount of trails that are public, but they also have a significant amount of impervious area outside of those trails where they haven't been receiving those bills.
All right, well, I will assume you'll manage that appropriately.
Yes, we have, if you go into our system now, there's actually a link. It can take you to every parcel. You can see the breakdown of all the impervious on those areas. So we'll just have to adjust and modify that. So it's available to the public. So when you do get bills, you can actually go to the parcel. see how it's calculated through those areas.
Yeah. I mean, it just strikes me as a fair way to change the way we calculate it. It's changed so people.
Yeah, there will always be questions on change, I agree.
Other discussion, questions? Okay, seeing none, motion?
So move to approve ordinance 3161, repealing and recreating sections 3.50 sub B, sub 7, and 3.50 sub J, sub 2 of the municipal code relating to stormwater customer classification and stormwater user charge.
Guzekowski goes second.
Roll call?
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
Fritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
And item 16 is consideration of an ordinance repealing and recreating section 15.66 sub A sub 1 and 15.66 sub D sub 2 of the municipal code relating to stormwater disposal. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you is that ordinance for repeal and recreation of this section of municipal code. So this primarily deals with roof discharge and sump pump discharge. So a lot of our complaints through the last, well, probably 15 or 20 years I've been here have been drainage complaints throughout the city, whether it's neighbors or businesses or back and forth. Some of our challenges we have as far as our enforcement is we don't have anything that is measurable when we go out to the field. A lot of it is, well, it can't flow onto a neighbor's property, or it has to be discharged to a swale, or things that are really kind of leave some ambiguity in regards to us being able to enforce or direct homeowners what really to do. What this recreation of this code, what it does is it provides a measurable and enforceable code. So if there's still storm sewer available, still required to hook up to storm sewer like it always has been. If there's a stormwater facility, they still have to direct it to the stormwater facility to manage it. But if there's nothing of those sorts of features that are available, they now have basically a measurable point. So they can't discharge right at the property line. They have a certain distance. It's 5 feet minimum or 50% of the distance from the building to the property line, whichever is greater. So at this point, this allows us to go out there, look at the situation we're in, be able to direct the homeowners or the complainant, whether they're in violation of the code or not. This just allows us that tool in a very exact way to deal with our complaints we receive. So we probably receive anywhere from 40 to 50 complaints a year, and this is the primary one. So this does take up a lot of staff time. This is going to hopefully cut down on a lot of those issues and time that we spend trying to enforce a code that really had no clarity.
Who would be, who would be in charge of actually enforcing this?
So
From
Josie
Tamara
Vogel,
or
our
is it out of your
environmental
department?
specialist, is the one that handles most of these complaints. She's tasked with that.
Okay. And complaint driven or observation?
They're all complaint driven. Obviously, unless we're out there inspecting something. But generally, I would say 95% of them are all complaint driven. Through the website, once again, it makes it very easy for someone to go on the website, complain. We do have all their information now, so they have made it a little bit more resourceful for us to follow through.
Other questions? Okay, seeing none, motion.
Haas moves to adopt resolution number 3163, repealing and recreating sections 15.66 sub A sub 1 and 15.66 sub D sub 2 of the municipal code relating to stormwater disposal.
Witzel, second.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Fritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
And item 17 is consideration of a resolution accepting the 2025 financial statements and audit results. The report as prepared and presented by Baker Tilly US LLP. Max?
Thank you, Mayor and Common Council. Max Gagan, Deputy City Administrator and Finance Officer. So before you tonight is a resolution that accepts the 2025 financial statements and the audit results report, which were prepared and will be presented shortly by Baker Tilly US LLP. just a very high-level overview of this year's audit. You know, I thought it was very successful, very strong financial results for the city. And we were able to get the annual audit wrapped up by June 8th, which was the earliest we've had on record. So I'm very proud of that, you know, very appreciative of the work of the departments to make this successful. At very high level, you know, governmental funds saw income just over $4 million, which is what we were expecting. So the total fund balance is just under $60 million there. Kind of why we had strong variances, investment income. You know, we're very conservative in that regard. So what we budget and what we actually received was much higher than we budgeted. Impact fee collections with strong development activity, and then excess tax increments specifically in TIS number 10, 11, 12, and 16. So, and then from the general funds perspective, we do have an undesignated general fund balance of about $11.5 million, which is 29.2% of revenues and state aids. We do have a policy that says that rainy day fund needs to be between 15 and 25%, so we're over that. So that really gives the Common Council discretion to spend some of that money above the policy for one-time expenditures like significant capital projects. And then lastly, before I turn it over to Wendy Unger from Baker Tilly, just talking about our utility funds, pretty significant change in net position of about $9 million. A lot of that was capital contributions. So when a private development occurs and the infrastructure is built by them, that infrastructure is essentially donated to the city and shown as a capital contribution on our financial statements. And then again, very strong investment income, about $2 million. So with that, we have Wendy Unger here. She is our partner at Baker Tilly, and she'll provide some additional details, not only on the financial statements, but on the audit results.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Wendy, can you pull that mic down?
Pull it down. Better? All right. So good evening, everyone. As Max noted, gonna use the summary that you should have in your information, but as he already shared a lot of the financial information, just gonna hit a few high points, just spend a couple minutes. First, what I do wanna mention, the objective of the audit was to issue no opinion. We've done that. Included within your audited statements is a clean, unmodified opinion, highest level of assurance that you can obtain from us as your auditors, same type of opinion that the city has received in the past. A unmodified opinion means that the financial information is believed to be materially accurate, that we have followed generally accepted accounting principles, and that all the disclosures required under the standards that we need to follow have been included within your financial statements. In addition to the financial statements, we do issue a document that's referred to as our reporting and insights document. That document really accomplishes a couple different purposes for us. We use that to communicate any of our standard and customary communication that we need to have with those charged with governance. So that is included within that document. Nothing that I need to highlight, very normal and things that you've seen in the past. Also, we utilize that document to communicate any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies that may exist within internal controls. And because we, as your auditors, prepare the audited statements and propose a couple material entries, that is referred to as material weakness. So we do communicate that in writing. That is not unusual or unexpected for most municipal organizations. One other item I would just quickly highlight that is included in there, and I'm not going to go in it in detail, but there will be a new governmental accounting standard effective for the city for 2026. It's GASB 103, and it will change the way your statements look and feel in certain areas. Doesn't change how you account for anything, but for the 2026 audit, you will see some additional information, more disclosures. Really, the GASB is trying to get at transparency, so a lot more, a little bit more getting into the minutia than what we probably have seen in the past. So stay tuned on that. We'll definitely work with management to make sure we're sharing tips, tricks, templates, all of that good information for implementation of that. Just a couple of highlights I want to add to the previous comments regarding financial results. As noted, there's a lot of information in this handout. Again, not going to go through all of this in great detail, but do want to just note on the second page, I've highlighted the various governmental funds. You can see that there's 8 columns there. In addition to the 8 columns that are there, there's 22 more funds of the city that are included within your audited statements. Those are towards the back of that document. As noted, nothing unusual or unexpected for activity during the year. The general fund did very well compared to what you had anticipated during budget, adding the $530,000 to fund balance, ending at $13.1 million. You had various borrowings that went into the several of the funds. So your debt service had $5.3 million of borrowing. Your capital improvement had $3 million. So again, increment was collected on the various TIDs as you would expect. So nothing unusual or unexpected within the governmental funds. Likewise on the enterprise fund, so the two utilities and your internal service funds, nothing unusual there. Also have very positive improvement net position to the tune of $9 million, as Max noted. Also positive cash flow in your water utility, added $2.1 million to cash, ended the year at $36.4 million. Sewer did use some cash, $652,000, but also had spent some money on capital assets during the year, so they utilized cash on hand to do so, and ended the year at slightly over $9 million of cash. The last portion of the handout, I have included a summary of the long-term obligations of the city. Just again, a high level, $21.27 million was borrowed during 2025. You paid down $31.4 million, so you had a net decrease in your long-term obligations or your general obligation of $10 million. Also, the utilities paid down $1.2 million on revenue bonds. So again, downward trend in all of those areas. The last item I would just point out related to that table, you can borrow up to 5% of your equalized value, which equates to $319 million. You have $103 million outstanding as of the end of the year, so your borrowing capacity is $216 million. Keep in mind that's a snapshot as of 12/31. That number ebbs and flows, but again, 68% of your borrowing capacity still existed as of the end of the year. So very positive results for the city for the year. I have included my phone number, my email address. Happy to speak with any of you in more detail, but I'd also be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions for Wendy?
Appreciate you being here and your presentation.
You're welcome. Great to be here.
Okay, so all in all, we came out really clean. We look good.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Max, just want to extend the council's appreciation to you and your staff for ushering the effort to make sure this is a very seemingly painless and uneventful audit for us. So we appreciate that.
Okay. We'll need a motion on 17.
Gail moves to approve resolution 12706-072126, accepting the 2025 financial statements and audit results report is prepared and presented by Baker Tilly US LLP.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Aye.
And item 18 is consideration of a resolution designating officials authorized to declare official intent under reimbursement bond regulations. Max?
Yeah, Max Gagan, Deputy City Administrator and Finance Officer. So before you tonight's a resolution that is designating officials authorized to declare official intent under reimbursement bond regulation. So as you're aware, the city has a capital improvement program, and we have to periodically issue debt in order to finance those capital projects. And when you're issuing non-taxable or tax-exempt general obligation debt, there is a provision that you have to adopt what's called a reimbursement resolution if you spend money before you receive your debt proceeds. And that's to ensure that they remain non-taxable. In the past few years, we've generally have received our proceeds before making any expenditures, but what this resolution does is it positions it so that instead of having the Common Council adopt a reimbursement resolution every time, that it would designate the mayor, the city administrator, and the deputy city administrator finance officer as authorized officials who can file that declaration of intent for a reimbursement. And again, this is really to kind of streamline the process and make it more efficient and effective. And there are some reasons why we would do this action, and I'll just kind of point to a couple of examples. So one, it's common that we enter into things like developer agreements, or say purchases of property, and we don't necessarily know what the timing is of when we have to make the expenditure, and sometimes that could happen before we actually have the authorization to issue the debt and close on the fund. So in that instance, this gives us flexibility. So an example I would utilize is, earlier this year we approved a finance development agreement for the Prairie. Under that agreement, it says that once they spend, I think it's their first $500,000, we need to pay them $3 million. So given whenever their construction starts and the timing of that, there could be an instance where we would need to make that payment before we would receive the debt proceeds. So we have flexibility there. And then just a second instance that I could foresee this being helpful in the future is, for example, for say fire station number 2. So right now we're going through the due diligence on property acquisition as well as the design. But once those decisions are made, we can certainly be in a position to close on property and do design costs and even enter into a construction contract before having issued the debt. So with this would give us the flexibility to do that. And that may be beneficial because if you were to issue a debt for a project and you haven't bid it out yet, you may not necessarily know how much it's going to cost. So you could be under borrowing or over borrowing. So, and then lastly, it also provides for some economies of scale. So in the instance for the fire station, say if that project were to start in the winter, the city in its financial position has strong enough cash that we can essentially float cash for several months until we reimburse ourselves. And what I would foresee is we would take a debt issuance for a fire station that would be coupled along with the $4 million debt issuance for the roads in the spring, because you're going to get economies of scale when you do both debt issuances at once. You're going to see savings on your cost of issuance, and you may actually realize a lower interest rate, just given that instead of being two debt issuances that are smaller, you'll have a larger issuance that is more attractive in the marketplace. So again, this just gives the mayor, the city administrator, and deputy city administrator, finance officer that authorized to declare that intent to reimburse us under the bond or federal bond regulations. Just one thing to make very clear, there isn't a fiscal impact here. This doesn't authorize the issuance of any debt. It doesn't approve a particular capital project, and it doesn't appropriate any funds. So all of those actions still go to the Common Council. So, we wouldn't make any declarations unless you have budgeted money, or you have approved a finance development agreement, or you have approved a capital project. This is really more so just notice so we can fulfill our notice requirements to the federal government to make sure that our issuance stay non-taxable. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Max. Questions?
Max, who was authorization to declare Section 1
So, and this is where right now it would have to go to the Common Council every time. So no one administratively can make this action. We actually believe the council might have adopted this resolution like 20 or 30 years ago. So we're just redoing it too, just to make you aware. Our bond council couldn't find it in our files, but I thought I found it somewhere under Mayor Bolander's term. But we just thought it was prudent to also bring it back, make sure we have an updated copy and it's on file with our bond council. But so specifically, if we were to say have to spend money next week and we were going to try and reimburse ourselves with bond proceeds, if before this is passed, we would have to do a resolution just for that item, and you would have to approve it as a common council, so we would be calling a special meeting.
And the mayor, the city administrator, and the deputy city administrator, those are all independent. There's no two out of three to sign off.
Oh, it's all independent, and that's the same language that you see in a parameters resolution. So when we issue debt, the common council adopts the parameters resolution, which essentially designates the authority to actually authorize the sale of the debt to the mayor, the city administrator, or deputy city administrator, finance officer. So very similar process.
Other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, motion?
Gail move to approve resolution 12707-072126, designated officials authorized to declare official intent under reimbursement bond regulations.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call?
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Ritz.
Aye.
And item 19 is the License Committee. I'll turn that over to Alderman Ritz.
Thank you, Mayor. In your packet is a list of items to be approved for the licensing committee. Please look it over and let me know if you have any questions. Hearing no questions, Ritz moves to approve the various license requests as listed on the 6/16/26 License Committee report.
A second.
Roll call?
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Item 20 is our vendor summary report for July 1st, 2026, in the amount of $1,060,137.54. You have your packet with you, and if there are any questions, please take the floor. Okay, seeing no questions, I'll call for a motion.
Gail moves to approve the July 1, 2026 vendor summary report in the amount of $1,060,137.54.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call?
Alderwoman Haas. Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
And item 21 is our vendor summary report for July the 15th, 2026. This amount is $1,599,068.76. Once again, if you find any discrepancies or questions with the packet, take the floor. Okay, there's no questions or discussion. Motion, please.
Gail moves to approve the July 15th, 2026 vendor summary report in the amount of $1,599,068.76.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call?
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
And item 22 is consideration of a resolution number 12708-072126, authorizing payment and bills, debts, and obligations. I think we've all been through this before with
You want to be lazy, we got to give someone the.
it's National
yeah.
Night Out, so once again, we'll have a suspended schedule, I believe, and those businesses have to take place. There's no questions or discussion. Motion?
Haas moves to adopt resolution number 12708-072126, authorizing payment of bills, debts, and obligations.
Ritz will second.
Roll call?
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Ritz.
Aye.
And item 23 is consideration of a motion to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, to discuss the following. A, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub G, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel who will render oral or written advice with respect to litigation in the Marvell Reed and Dorian Beazle versus City of Oak Creek. This is a U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Wisconsin, case number 2.26 CV 768. And B, section 19.85, sub 1, sub E, Wisconsin State Stats, to deliberate and consider proposed terms for market competition and bargaining reasons and investing of public funds relating to the purchase and sale agreement for a potential purchase of a property located at 1880 and 1998 West Creekside Crossing. President Gale?
Thank you, Mayor. Gail moves to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, to discuss the following: A, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub G, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel who will render oral or written advice with respect to litigation in Marvell Reed and Dorian Bizzle versus City of Oak Creek. B, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, Wisconsin State Statutes, to deliberate and consider proposed terms for market competition and bargaining reasons and the investing of public funds relating to a purchase and sale agreement for the potential purchase of property located at 1880 and 1998 West Creekside Crossing Circle.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
We will now convene into closed session, and we will resume at its conclusion. Thank you. For a motion to reconvene into open session.
Thank you, Mayor. Gail moves to reconvene in the open session.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Haas. Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
And item 25 is to consider a motion to take action if required.
Thank you, Mayor. Gail moves to approve the real estate purchase and sale agreement between Walden OC LLC and the City of Oak Creek, and authorizing modifications or technical corrections to the agreement that may be reasonably necessary in order to preserve and maintain the general intent thereof, and that are approved by the city administrator and city attorney.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call.
Alderman Ritz.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas.
Okay. Before we adjourn, I hope everybody's enjoying their summer. It's going fast. Be aware of the heat. And the farmers market's continuing. The produce is coming through very well, I understand. So if you can, please patronize farmers market this weekend.
And to confirm, our next meeting is August 18th.
I believe so. National Night Out happens August 3rd.
Tuesday, August 18th.
Next one.
Yep, our next meeting will be August the 18th. So there's no further business. Call for a motion to adjourn.
Ritz moves to adjourn.
Haas seconds.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Haas. Ritz.
Aye.
Okay. Everybody, thank you for tuning or streaming in. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.